object and purpose are somewhere relating terms, are not independent, having the nexus with each other. This relation of the object and purpose of research have been shown by one example, and in this example there are three persons, Mr. A, Mr. B and Mr. C. Object of all these three are the same, that is the construction of residential house property. Object of A, B and C are the same, whereas they have their individual purpose. Mr. A wants to construct house property for his own residential use, whereas Mr. B wants to construct house property for letting it out, and Mr. C wants to make his capital investment by this objective. That means we can better understand that there is a relation between objective of research and purpose of research. Any research topic undertaken by the researcher at the same time at different times may have the same topic, selected the same with same objectives, but their individual purposes of research may be different. Some researcher wants to research to find out the real research problem of the life. Other wants to research for getting any academic degree like doctorate. And third, other researcher, he may be interested to work for any funding agencies. Here the object of research is the same, but the purposes of the research may differ from the time, space and objectives of individual researcher. On the basis of different objectives, the research can be classified as inventive research, exploratory research, explanatory research, diagnostic research, remedial research, comparative research, experimental research, and at last historical research. All these explanations, classifications of research are illustrative one, are not conclusive. There may be some other kinds of classification on the basis of different objectives and dimensions. The first category, or what we can say, the first kind of research on the basis of its objective to invent something, that is called inventive research. Inventive research is the process by which the researcher wants to search any theory or principle, and by propounding that theory he can innovate any novel product. Inventive research is usually applied for material things, any such invention which is not existed earlier. This method is based on the pure science and personal skills of the researcher. First, researcher try to find out some facts, methods, methodology on the basis of his logical analysis, and any such knowledge which is not exist earlier, he try to collect that knowledge at the primary stage, and on the basis of that knowledge he developed or built his theory, and by applying that theory he innovates any material product or thing. Example of inventive research is articles, instruments, machineries or devices. After inventive research, the second research, that is the exploratory research. Object of exploratory research is to explore any unknown fact, though the fact already exists somewhere in this world, but the society is not aware as to the existence of that fact. The focus of researcher is to explore those facts and to present those facts before the society. In this research, no preliminary data exists for assisting the researcher or to guide him to proceed with his objective. Mysterious facts, those facts which are difficult to explain, are searched and interpreted and shown before the society by this exploration method. After exploratory research, another kind of research is explanatory research. Object of this kind of research is the explanation of knowledge. Any knowledge, any fact which exists in the society, and society and group of pupils are already know or aware with the existence of fact, but their knowledge is somewhere is not perfect. If they are not aware as to the reality of that fact, or their knowledge of reality is incomplete, misleaded or inconsistent. The focus of researcher is to give the true explanation of the facts by which he can correct the social perception towards that concept of life. Because this is very necessary, or what we can say, this is the matter of social development. If the society at large is misleaded or having misconception towards the truthiness of any fact, this is the moral duty of the researcher to work on that particular social issue and explain and make the society aware with the reality. After explanatory research, another is diagnostic research, where any problem exists in the society. Peoples are affected by that problem, but they have no knowledge how to resolve that problem. Where the causes or the variables of such problem which causing the existence of problem, subsistence of problem, are not known. By this researcher exercise to find out causes of variables responsible for origin, existence and subsistence of problem. And finally, he diagnosed the causes of any problem. This is also called the causal research. After causal research, another important research is remedial research, where the causes of any problem are already known to the society. But how to cope up that problem, that is the question. Causes of problem have already identified. How to prevent or control such problem is a question. By this research, researcher try to investigate those facts or variables which can be useful for controlling or eradication of such social problem. After remedial research, another research is comparative research. Object of this research is the comparison of two or more groups, phenomena, society, policy, instrument, principles or theories. Here the researcher makes the comparison between two or more set of principles, theories or groups, and after analyzing them, he comes with the conclusion that which particular theory or model is beneficial to achieve any defined objective. The next research is experimental research. In experimental research, effects of variable is observed by controlling and manipulating the variables. Here the researcher has control over the variables used in the research, and he tried to study the effects of their manipulation or their reaction with the other variable. This research is performed with objective to test the variables or testing of the hypothesis. Testing of variables is also called the laboratory research. Experimental researches are rarely used in legal research. Historical research is another kind of research having its own distinct objective, and this is very important kind of research. By this research, past facts or evidences are studied systematically and chronologically. By past events, researchers try to explain the present phenomena, present condition, and it can also be beneficial for the future decisions. In this research, researcher collects the scattered recorded facts and analyze them and summarize to give a valid statement as to the past events.